So good morning, this is day 3 of the Apsley expedition. So our goal today, we are going to head into town, the town of Bancroft, and grab a couple supplies. We ran out of a couple of things. It's going to be about half an hour trip to get up there, which should be kind of interesting. See what we find along the way. Our other goal for today is to find some of the boundary markers of this property. If we can find any of them out back, that'll be a huge help to us in order to sort of see where our boundaries are, see where we can and can't build things, anything like that for the future. Should be exciting. So as soon as I get out of the car and walk down the pathway, I find these little sticks. These are old trees that have been cut. Now they may look like they've been cut by an axe or a chainsaw or something like that, especially with these little pieces. But actually, these were chewed by a little animal called the beaver. A lot of people are familiar with it. It's like a little rat-like creature, but they're really amazing. They come to these trees, they choose the size that they want, and they start to gnaw on them. And if you look at each one of these, they have a downward angle. It's almost like the beavers instinctively know how to fell a tree. So they start eating and eating, and they eat all the way around the circle. Eventually the tree's going to fall over. Then they're going to drag it down to the river, even though these trees far outweigh the actual weight of the beaver itself. They're going to drag them upriver, and then they're going to create a dam. So when I have evidence of beaver activity here, just like these, I bet somewhere around here there's a beaver dam. So we're going to go on up and have a look, see if we can find it. Check out this beaver dam. This is really cool. As I suspected, seeing evidence of beavers, I would find a beaver dam. So what's happened over time is the beavers have taken all of those logs and trees that they've split with that very distinctive, almost looks like a sharpened pencil kind of tip. They felled them, they brought them up here, and then they packed them here. Now if you look at some of these sticks, some of these actually have that sort of pencil sharpened shape on them because they've been moving them from one section to the other. Absolutely amazing that these little animals that only weigh maybe a couple of kilograms could come, and do this much work. I mean, what's happened behind me is this small stream that used to run through this area is now a huge floodplain, and that's all because of the work of these beavers. What an absolutely spectacular thing to find. So we're leaving our base camp, heading down a little trail. From there we're going to head into the back section of the woods and try to find our boundary markers. And how we're going to do that is look for the old surveyor stakes that they have set out into the ground. When the property was surveyed, you know, in the 1800s or whatever, they would have put these big stakes in the ground. Modern day surveyors, they still use those stakes. So yeah, we're going to go and try to find those, which is going to really kind of open up the possibilities of where we can go and what we can do as soon as we know our formalized borders. So now we're out into the wood here. There's a lot of birch here, which means there's going to be a lot of possibility for chaga, like we've talked about before and we collected yesterday. So it's going to be kind of exciting. See if we can find those property markers. There's a lot of trout lilies here as well, which is kind of cool. There's a lot of old stumps. Apparently this area was logged recently. They probably about 60 or 70 years ago. So there were some roads that were built in here. Really excited about that because it makes it easier for passing. Makes it easier for us to walk left and right on the property, and hopefully we'll be able to find those boundary markers a little easier. So this post means we found the edge of a property line. This isn't actually the surveyor's post. This little tiny thing right down here it's a little tiny square stake. Sits just about 10 to 15 centimeters above the ground. But what they've done just to make it easier for anybody who wants to find property borders is they put this bright colored stake in here and this orange marking tape. But the orange marking tape breaks really easy, so that kind of lets me know that this has been here maybe 5-10 years, something like that. But it's still a really cool find in the woods to be, to just be wandering around out here looking for stuff. And here you come to a property border. So according to all the information that we have, if we head away from here about 500 feet, something like that, we're supposed to find another one of these. So let's go have a look. Forests are filled with so many amazing and beautiful things. Look at the size of this mushroom. He is absolutely huge. Look at the size of him. Man, oh man. Now how these mushrooms form is usually they will take hold on a tree that is either dead or dying. In the case of this tree, it's actually it's dead and just a bit of a stump. And then they grow off any of the minerals and nutrients that they find on the bark and inside the tree. Eventually, again, if it's a dying tree, it helps finish the tree off and it kills it. While this isn't a chaga mushroom, he's really, really cool. Certainly wouldn't recommend eating this guy as opposed to some of the ones you can clearly identify. But he's a really neat find right here in the middle of the woods. So this portion of the property covers through some beautiful wetland. Now wetlands are very, very important. Wetlands are nature's sponge. Any of the crap or contaminants that flow through the air or the water will end up here and they're going to filter it out. If you can look behind me, this is absolutely spectacular. I mean, even in HD, it's really difficult for anybody who's not here to see the beauty of this place. It's pretty swampy, and it's going to be certainly a challenge to cross. But yeah, we're going to head on out and continue the crossing, see if we can find that other boundary marker. Check this out. Check out how the forest changes from one side of the creek to the other. From the other, it's mostly hardwoods and birches and things like that. Then we get into more of a boreal style forest. As soon as we cross over, look at all the pine trees and cedar trees. Simply stunning how nature can change things that quick. Look at the size of this birch tree I found in the forest. Man, he's huge. I'm not much of a tree hugger, but I can't even really get my hands around him. That shows his enormous size. Now there's a possibility that maybe he was two trees or something at once that grew together or something, but it's not too often, especially down where I live in the Niagara region, that you see a tree of this massive size. Obviously when they came through and they logged this area, probably, you know, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, they probably left this guy. But boy, oh boy, what an amazing find right out here in the forest. He gleams like a white beacon amongst all these pine trees that you can see around us. But boy, he's huge. So check this out. Wandering around trying to find that boundary marker. Found this. It's an old sign. Looks like an arrow pointing in that direction. Now when I look down there, it looks like it must have been an old road or something at some point because it's all cleared out. But yeah, it's been here a while. Now when I peel back this, you can have a look in there and you can see that it's sort of, the wood is a different color. That tells me that this has been here for quite a long time. So I'm assuming this is probably the northern border of the property. So we're going to head on back out and see what else we can find out here. This is an old tree stand. It's not really in the best of shape. It's a little rickety. So what would have happened at some point, hunters would have sat up here and laid in wait for deer or moose to cross on out, and then bang, they could have picked them off. Yeah, this is a pretty cool find out here in the woods. I wouldn't recommend using this one as it looks a little rickety, doesn't feel the safest, but it's certainly a cool find out here. So here we are, back on this unopened road allowance, and I'm going to end up heading back to camp. And we've been out here most of the day exploring and enjoying this huge chunk of property that we're on. It's interesting to find that that marker on the side of the tree ended up taking us to a tree stand, which is always kind of a neat thing to see, although I'm not really much of a hunter myself. I believe in you know, preservation, and the only thing I hunt with is a camera. But yeah, so that was kind of fun. So this old road allowance that we're heading down now, I have no idea how old it is. It's quite overgrown, as you can see sort of behind me here. There we go. But yeah, so this follows along the northern border of the property, and we're gonna head back to base camp. It's been one heck of a fun day out. So this pretty much sums up our day 3 Apsley expedition. It was a really exciting day. We ended up finding one of the 4 border markers, which is okay. We will certainly use GPS and other things like that to find the other ones. I did end up removing the little license plate off that snowmobile bonnet, so I might go ahead and list that on eBay or something. Some collector may want that. We found the tree stand. That was really cool. It's just all in all been a pretty exciting day. This is a very, very beautiful place. It's kind of a shame this is going to be my last day here, but so be it. I'm sure someday we'll make another expedition to the area, and we'll enjoy it.